Welcome to the Go Run Show, where it's my job to keep us learning, keep us challenging our thinking, and obviously to keep improving our running. I want to give you insights and experiences from some pretty awesome athletes, some real coaches, everyday runners with awesome stories to tell, as well as dive into some of the issues that our industry experts, dietitians, nutritionists, podiatrists, physios, personal trainers can help us along the way with. I want to try and discuss all the things that you might want to know to help you become a better runner. I am really stoked to be able to invite onto the show Kellie Emmerson, who's one of the best trail runners around. She's the winner of the Surf Coast Century a couple of times. She's won some amazing events around Victoria and Australia, and has just been over to Portugal for the World Trail Running Championships, representing Australia for the second time. So she's been to France and Portugal for those World Championships. She's an ambassador for some great brands like She Science, V Fuel, 2XU. I asked the runners that I coach at Go Run Australia for questions to ask Kellie. We chatted about how she manages her time, about her nutrition, and discovered that she's actually a bit of a chocoholic, which was reassuring to me. Where she started her running journey and where she's now ended up, and some of the advice that she gives out and has received along the way. And there's some great quotes in here. So I hope you really enjoy it. Let's dive right in. So you've just finished run group coaching.
Yeah.
And we're sat here in the 2XU store. It's obviously been a bit of a big day for you. You've been up since 5. Yeah. Is this a normal day in the life of Kellie Emmerson?
It is.
It is?
It is. It's a big game of Tetris.
Yeah, nice. And do you find you're organised enough to be able to deal with Tetris? Or?
Most of the time, I did manage to forget my shoes and socks this morning.
Good work.
That's good.
Good work. We've crossed paths a couple of times, I think, on various trail runs, probably down the Surf Coast somewhere, and also at run coaching courses.
And a road run.
And road runs, yeah, Harvest Run. And particularly since the coaching course, I've really wanted to have an opportunity to chat to you properly. Firstly, I mean, obviously, phenomenal runner and all these amazing experiences in different parts of the world, France and Portugal and all that sort of stuff. And to sort of hear some insights about that would be awesome. But also the fact that you've had this busy day and you're a normal person with a full-time job and studying and all the rest of it. So some time management tips would be pretty useful as well, I suspect. But I asked the runners that I coach for their own questions, what they would ask somebody like you. And they came up with all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff, from biscuits to alcohol to, all sorts of stuff. But in general terms, it was around how did you get from, starting to run to where you are, a little bit about the juggling act that you perform every day by the sounds of it, your reflections on your sort of career to date, if you like, the mental and physical side of training. Obviously, we were talking a bit about that beforehand. And then obviously this amazing experience that you've just had in Portugal. So if you're all right to start with that.
Sounds good.
Cool. What was that like? You off to the World Championships, Trail Running World Championships in Portugal only a couple of weeks ago. How was your build-up and what was all that like?
Yeah, so it was my second time representing Australia. So I went to France last year and I placed 19th, and so obviously wanted to try and better that a little bit this year. I got a coach for the first time ever. I've always been self-coached. And so I had a big build-up, about 3 months probably with him, leading up to Worlds, and I trained harder than I ever had before. I was doing more Ks than I ever had before, and I was probably fitter than I ever have been. I've got 5K, 10K, half marathon PBs in the last 3 months. Nice. Part of that, I think, was very mental. Yeah. I think I probably always was able to do that, but having someone else believe that I could and actually tell me that. The first time, within the first 2 weeks, I think he told me to go out for a tempo run, 35 minutes at 4-minute pace. And I didn't sleep the night before because I was so worried about not being able to do it. And I went out and I did it.
No worries.
And I was fine.
There you go.
So I think it's, that's one element that has added something to my training, I guess.
It's interesting, isn't it, how sometimes coaches have more faith than you do in what you can do.
Yeah, totally.
And, we're supposed to know our bodies best, and then sometimes the coach just seems to know you and what you're capable of, or whether you're really tired, or what it is.
Yeah. And I'd always considered getting a coach, but I felt that I was so busy that I wouldn't have time to respect a program properly.
Okay, that's interesting.
But yeah, it sort of got to the point where I was still making gains on my own, but I felt that it was worth a shot just having the addition of a coach. So so I was really fit. I was feeling really good, and I think I rolled my ankles for the first time probably 2 to 3 months out, and fairly badly, but I was still able to run. It was fine. I sort of just ignored it. Yeah. Taped them up for a couple of runs.
The magic tape.
And focused on doing a lot of strengthening work and a lot of balance work and trying to get them strong so that it wouldn't happen again. And I had a few races in the lead up, including Wonderland, which is quite technical, and my ankles were fine, and so I was feeling really good. And
I sense something's coming here.
Yeah. So we got out on the course in Portugal before race day. We got out probably a week early and spent 3 days on the course, which was really good to be able to see the course and to see some of the views, because lots of the race was in the dark, so lots of people missed out on seeing some of those views. And Brendan and I had my coach had a bit of a chat and about, he was happy with my form and everything, but he said, I haven't really seen you let loose on the technical stuff yet. I said, no, I'm just saving that for race day. Yeah. And I did, and I was probably a little overconfident and rolled my ankles. My right ankle probably 10 k's in. Then I did it again at 13 k's in. Then I did the other one at about 25 k's, and then after that it just couldn't stop. They were loose and they just kept going.
Ouch.
So it was quite a frustrating day out.
Quite a long day by the sounds of it.
Yeah, it was frustrating because I was fit and I knew that I could do the work, but my ankles just weren't allowing me to. And my watch is still going for my ankles just weren't allowing me to. So I could still hike really well, and I was overtaking people on the climbs. And I could still run on the flat, but there wasn't too much of that. Yeah. And there was just a lot of technical downhill, and every little unbalanced part, I'd get shooting pain through my foot. And I was a little bit concerned that I'd done some serious damage, but I wanted to keep going. Yeah.
Well, you're sort of there at the big event, aren't you?
Yeah. So towards probably 3/4 of the way through, I found out that pretty much everyone was struggling. Okay. So it wasn't just me, and that sort of made me feel a bit better. Not, of course I don't want my team to struggle, but at least I knew everyone was in the same boat. Yeah. And then I managed to pass my coach and one of the other blokes.
Come on then, is that satisfying or what?
It was a little bit satisfying. He was laying down to have a little nap. I didn't actually know until later. Yeah, but like once you run down that finish line, shoot with your Aussie flag, it's all right.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing. So in terms of the course then, I mean, how long is the course, and what sort of percentage? You said a lot of it was in the dark. How much of that is in the dark then?
Probably the first 30 k's.
Wow.
So it started at 5:30 in the morning, which means we have to get up and have breakfast. We get up at about 2, have breakfast about 3. Then you drive to the start line, and then it's all go. There was lots of gear checks at the start and throughout. And yeah, it was dark for the first 30 k's. Because over there, it doesn't actually get light until after 8, so it was a bit strange. 85 k's in total, and about 4,600 metres of ascent.
Wow. I'd rather you than me, I have to say. That's pretty incredible. So you got that sort of mixed emotion, I guess, about it all. You're pretty stoked that you made it there, pretty amazed at the opportunity to run somewhere like that with the calibre of field, I guess, but also slightly underwhelmed or disappointed or whatever the word is.
Yeah, for sure, because I know that I could have done better. And I've had pretty good recovery. My muscles felt fine because I just didn't go at the pace that I wanted. But that's trail running, and it's it's so unpredictable, and it's every race is different because different people's strengths and weaknesses come out. I was laughing with one of the American girls along the way because we just kept leapfrogging each other, and she was better on the climbs and I was better on the downs, and that's just the nature of trail running.
That's
you just never know what's going to happen, and I figure two things. One, I didn't really know what time to aim for because I knew that it was very technical, but I sort of set myself the goal of 12 hours, which I still beat. So I did 11:48, and can't remember what else I was
Well, you beat 12 hours. That's pretty good going, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, and there were at least 60 dropouts overall. Like, some really big names pulled out. And for an elite field, to have that many people drop out is pretty insane.
I was going to ask about the comparison between the previous World Champs that you went to and this one in terms of, difficulty of the course. It's very difficult, I know, to compare stuff. But, how did you feel after the year before versus how are you feeling now, I guess?
So last year I was totally elated at the end because I had no idea what I was capable of, and to come in at top 20 I was totally stoked, and to beat a few big names as well. So it was a really tough course. Running in the French Alps is pretty insane.
Not supposed to be easy, really.
But lots of these turn into hiking races. You've got to use your most efficient method. And for me, I don't think I'm an efficient uphill runner, but I can hike well, and I've taught myself to hike well. And if you can, maintain a good pace and then make up for it on the downs and the flats, and you can still have, you can be quite competitive. I guess that's what happened. It was nowhere near as technical as this course.
Right.
So the trails are proper trails.
Right.
Portugal. They had actually, so this race is normally a 50k race, but they had to make it up to a 50-mile race for World Champs.
Okay.
So they pretty much just mowed a course in trails that they apparently used to exist a few hundred years ago. Didn't really anymore. So there's lots of moss-covered rock and just random trails.
That makes things interesting for everyone, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Let's just say we got lost quite a few times in the recce's.
Okay.
Yeah, every day.
Jeez. In terms of, so you've obviously a couple of weeks past, 2 or 3 weeks past
3 weeks.
The event itself. I'm always interested in how people recover, and that period after you finished your goal race. I mean, you think about maybe October, November, there's some big stuff that happens, Melbourne Marathon, all that sort of stuff. And people often struggle with this period. Like, how are you feeling in general? There's a big smile
hard.
there.
It's really hard. For me, going over to Portugal, we had our holiday first, which was a bit different. I didn't really want to do it that way, but I just had to work that way with work and everything. Which there's pros and cons to. I mean, we got to run around and sightsee, and that's how we sort of see the world, which we probably wouldn't have done post-race as much. So that was one of the bonuses. But we did have to jump straight back on a plane and go straight back to work. Pretty much straight away. There was no rest. In terms of training, I talked myself into having a really good rest now, because it has been a big year. But that is really hard to do when you're used to doing so much. And I like to eat a lot, so when I'm not training as much.
Yes.
That's always a consideration. But this week, I guess I had 2 weeks of not really doing a whole heap. I've started to get back into it this week, which is probably need more of a rest than what I am allowing myself, but it's just about getting back into routine. I feel much better when I'm in more of a routine, and I won't be doing anywhere near the amount of Ks, but just
different type of training.
Trying to do a bit more cross training things, but and probably be a bit more relaxed with my crew and things as well, and running with them. Going to do yoga a fair bit, and
I think this period of time for anyone, irrespective of the caliber of athlete that you are, it's really tough. Like mentally, and I mean, you've got the initial physical side of it where your legs are screwed and what have you, but the mental side of it, I don't think there's enough. I was chatting to another coach about this actually. I don't think there's enough that we do as coaches that caters to that.
Yeah.
Everybody builds up to a race and then seems to stop.
Yeah.
So that transition, or whatever you want to call it afterwards, I think it's really important.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And for me, this time, I guess I've got in the back of my mind that I'm planning on doing a race in February,
Right.
a 100k race, and so it's probably a little bit earlier than I would like.
Yeah.
But because I probably should have a few more downtime, but I can't back off too much because I need to maintain my fitness and then get ready to start training for it. So it's really hard, but I think it's really important to have some downtime because you see lots of people overtrain, and I've been one of the lucky ones that really hasn't had any serious injuries. Touch wood. So.
I was going to ask about that. So no massively serious injuries. Obviously, you've had your ankle stuff.
Yeah, just only recent, and structurally they look okay. So fingers crossed.
Good stuff.
But yeah, I've been really lucky. I think you just need to listen to your body and try.
And that's always been the way you've been. Like since a kid, you've been relatively injury free, and that's fantastic. Yeah. So let's go back to when you were very little. What sort of got you into running in the first place?
Yeah, so I always played team sports when I was younger. Netball, basketball. I was always fairly good at both.
Yeah.
Would have loved to have done rep.
Yeah.
But could never decide on one. I just like doing everything. So could never really specialise in one thing. Did my first fun run probably when I was maybe late teens, early 20s.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, Run for the Kids.
Yeah.
And I'd never run that far in my life, but made the distance.
What was that
and it was
back in the day? 14
14K.
14K.
And decided to step it up to a half marathon. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so I joined a running club called Running in the Burbs, and they were the official training squad for Run Melbourne at the time.
Okay, yeah.
I think that was 2009. And trained with them, and remember one night we were out for a run and the group split. One was going back to finish their run and the others were going to keep going, and it's like, I feel alright, I'll just go with the long group. Did 18 Ks and I'd never thought I could do that, so and it just sort of started from there. And I got invited to I did a couple of Melbourne marathons and Great Ocean Road.
Mm-hmm.
And then some friends from Running in the Burbs asked me to do Oxfam with them.
The 100K
trail walker. So we did Maroondah Dam at my first ultra together as a team, just as a warm-up race. And found that it came pretty naturally. It was a 50K race, and it was
nice.
So started competing.
So what was? Can you remember your first? I don't know. Let's go half marathon time. Can you remember what time you would have done?
No, I don't have a clue, to be honest.
Okay. Or a marathon time?
First marathon time was 3:17.
3:17. Decent first time. Jeez. Fantastic. And I mean, obviously, a hell of a lot has changed since then. Like you're now running predominantly on trails, I guess, and off to world championships and all sorts of weird and wonderful stuff.
Yeah, never thought that any of that would have been possible.
Exactly. I was going to say, like, what would you advise? What you sitting here now? What would you have advised yourself? In that first half marathon, or the training for that first half marathon, or Run for the Kids.
Probably should train a little bit more than what I did.
What you're doing.
My first marathon, I trained 3 days a week.
Okay.
That was a bad thing.
And still did 3:17.
Yeah.
That's all right.
I'm one of those really annoying people. But I guess, I don't know, just that anything's possible, and that, to always enjoy it. Like, there's no point in doing it if you're not going to have fun, but, I wouldn't be here if I didn't enjoy it as well. And I guess I've continued to take it further in competing in bigger and crazier races, and in coaching as well. And that's my way of sort of giving back and teaching everything that I've learned along the way. Yeah.
What do you find yourself advising on the most often? So you're obviously a coach now, and people like myself are annoying, and we ask questions of you.
Not annoying at all.
What do you find yourself sort of repeating time and time and
Yeah.
time again?
Well, my run group here at 2XU is primarily a road running group, but I've inadvertently managed to persuade most of them to the trails and to the longer distances.
Infiltrated.
But yeah, probably like today we were just talking about actual running form and technique, and again translating that to the trails is often teaching different trail running technique. And lots of people who are non-runners go, well, how can you teach running? Don't you just run? They don't really understand it. But there is lots involved in it, particularly on the trails and on different terrain.
Hey, lots of runners say that still. So it's not just the non-runners, I don't think. It's, even myself, very recently looked at my own technique, and it's not exactly great. So, there's a lot of work there to do still, definitely. So you're a coach, you're studying, you're off traveling around Europe and doing amazing races. How on earth do you fit all of this in? Work, social, family, all of that sort of stuff. Are you disciplined in sort of? Yeah,
look, it's really hard. I won't pretend that it's easy, but it's a big game of Tetris, and it's I guess having routine. I think routine is really important.
Yeah.
Because that if you know that you do this particular thing on this day of the week, it just becomes part of it. You don't have to think about it so much. But yeah, I work full time. I teach body pump a couple of times a week. I coach 2 to 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Studying my masters. It's hard, and luckily I have lots of supportive friends who.
That's it.
Most of them understand.
That's it.
Some of them don't understand, but that's okay. They've accepted. That's what I do.
This is the way it is.
We make sure we have family dinner every Sunday night. So I go back with my brother and sister,
that's awesome.
mum and dad, and that's just what we do every Sunday.
But that's it. That's part of the routine, isn't
it?
That's exactly part of the routine.
Yeah. So that makes it a lot easier. But as I was saying, sometimes you lose your head a bit and forget things.
Yeah. Socks, shoes. All of the above, usually. Good stuff. You're obviously dishing out plenty of advice, as I said before. What's the best advice that you think you've received along the way, whether it's from a coach or a friend or whoever, something that's just stuck in your head?
My motto is to hike the shit out of it.
I love that. Hike the shit out of it. Love it. Awesome.
Yeah, that's the best advice.
Best advice, full stop. Hike the shit out of it. And I suppose that goes across a lot of stuff, isn't it? Career and other stuff. Just get cracking. That's absolutely fair enough. What about advice that you hear other people dishing out that you think, hang on a minute, that's not appropriate, fair, right?
Well, even tonight we're talking about one of my guys had looked up a general program for the 2 days race, and it had them running every day.
Wow!
And he said, "How am I meant to do that?" So I think one key thing is that you can't provide a program that suits everybody. You can use it as a guide, but you need to be really careful because everyone has different needs and different lifestyles and different family and social situations, and that's why I think it's important to have some sort of individualized program.
Do you run every day?
No.
So there you go. I mean, there's.
I think it's important to have at least one rest day a week, and I still do yoga on my rest day, but it's not running.
Wow, that's full on. So somebody that's as good as yourself, not running every day, still getting their yoga in, obviously talking about pump and all these other bits and bobs as well.
I'm sure, lots of people would be surprised by the amount of Ks that I do. I don't have time to do ridiculous Ks, so, I would average 80 to 100 Ks a week.
Right.
But it's worked for me. It's kept me injury-free, as long as, you do a bit of pump and other stuff as well, I think.
I tried, I did a bit of, not much, but Ironman racing, and my run Ks dropped significantly. But I got fitter, and so therefore my times got better, and I was able to run further. So, but I was telling people I was running 60k a week or whatever, and they were really surprised. But actually, there's a whole host of other stuff that complements it.
Definitely.
So lots of different ways to slice it up, I guess. Yes, that's good to hear. Actually, that's really actually quite. I was good. Well, it sort of leads into my next question, which was around what cross training do you do?
Yeah.
Or strength training. I mean, a lot at the moment. I'm personally getting a lot of questions around strength training and what to do, not to do, how much to do, all that sort of stuff.
I find that lots of people think that it's all about running and they need to get their Ks in for the week and everything else is less of a priority. But I think that you need to prioritise everything in some way. And it's really important to do strength training, especially for trail running, because you need a strong core, you need good agility. There's a whole other range of muscles and things that you need compared to just running on the road. But road runners should also do strength training. For me, I've taught pump for probably about 10 years now, and that's been a really good, when I first started, I definitely saw my heels and everything improve straight away.
Okay.
But also, what I find in my runners that I manage to drag along is that their recovery and things improves as well. But I think that's a really good overall workout. It's only an hour. Someone else is telling you what to do. You don't have to think about it. Yeah. I think if you've got time, it's good to do some more focused running, sort of focused strength work. I'll often stay a little bit longer after pump whilst I'm already at the gym and try and do some more focused stuff. Yeah. As well. So things like single leg squats. Yeah. Squats, lunges. At the moment, I'm doing a lot more rehab on my ankles.
Okay. Great to hear, actually, and really interesting that you notice people recover quicker when they do that bit more strength training than they used to. Interesting.
Yeah. And then I'll try and do yoga twice a week as well.
Okay. And what? Okay, I'm going to tell you something. I'm doing my first ever yoga session tomorrow, and I am shitting myself.
One thing that I didn't realise is that there's lots of different types of yoga.
Yes, I didn't realise this either. So apparently there's 8 different parts to yoga, and the physical bit is just one bit of this. And so I've always concentrated on the physical side of it and thinking, I'm not flexible. I'm your typical male
story
runner.
Of my life. Yeah. Apparently I'm a male runner too.
And I've always been petrified of it. So it'll be interesting to see how I go. But what do you think you get from yoga then?
Number one, a bit of time out.
Right, okay. Yeah.
I mean, people always ask me what I think about when I run. And I don't really think of much. It's my form of meditation is what I tell them, because you just get into the zone. But yoga is sort of a different form of that, I guess, and just having a bit of time out, especially in the middle of winter. It's nice to just go and lie in the heat and do some stuff. Stretching, as we just said, I'm probably the most unflexible person on the planet. But,
we should have a competition.
We can do that. But I've managed to find my own way with a million different props and things, so that I can still do things. I think it's important not to copy everyone else in the room, because there have been times where I've pulled my hamstring whilst trying to do yoga. Okay. And so I've learnt that I really need to listen to my body when I'm doing it. Because
this is great advice for me for tomorrow.
Times, Thank you. But I do like a what's called flow vinyasa.
Okay, yeah.
Once a week. And that's more, it's quite active. It's got lots of down dogs. I can't do down dog crap. But it's sort of good strength training as well. And then I do a yin yoga class once a week, usually on a Sunday night or a Monday morning, and that's much slower, not as hot, just literally holding poses for up to 5 minutes at a time. Wow. So they strongly recommend that for runners. So
okay, all right.
Keep your eye out for that one.
I'll let you know how I go anyway. I'm sure you must get. You said a couple of times about things that you get asked frequently. I'm sure you must get asked about diet and nutrition a fair bit as well. So I'm going to ask you about that as well. You said you like to eat. What's your? I mean, do you stick to, in general life, any particular rules or what have you around your diet and nutrition outside of the running side of things?
Not really. I just like food a lot and I eat a lot. My partner is currently doing a high-fat, low-carb diet. So that's been a little bit challenging at times, because I feel like I still need carbs.
Carbs, yeah.
So I'll make sure that I still add rice and pasta and things
Yeah.
where possible. I'm a bit of a chocoholic, and I have to have chocolate every day.
I'm so happy to hear that.
And I do like a drink as well.
Okay.
So
All right.
on the alcohol front, I know everyone's the one wondering that question.
Yeah.
I don't think you need to completely refrain from alcohol. There's nothing wrong with having a drink here or there. It's just not going crazy. It was a bit hard to refrain in Portugal in the wine region a week before my race, but and then we had beer on tap in the athlete dining hall as well.
Nice. Well, I'll let you know in on a secret that I went to a race it would have been, it was in Torquay once, and a whole host of us went down there. And we got so plastered the night before that we didn't make the race. So we did the whole weekend and then didn't make the race.
That's hilarious.
So, yeah, less said about that the better, probably.
No, I can't say that I've done it.
So you like your food, obviously, and do you sort of change your diet at all as you're approaching a race, or? Not
really. A few years ago, I would have made sure I carbo loaded for the whole week and things, but I sort of found that, I did a little bit of research on it, and from experience, I just found that one, apparently women can't eat enough for it to actually work properly.
Okay.
Two, your energy stores are only going to last you about 2 hours anyway, and so for those sort of longer distance races, it's not really going to make a huge difference. And three, you just felt really heavy and blah before the race. So I didn't really find that it was helping. So I'll still try and eat a few more carbs maybe the day or two before, but that's about it.
Yeah. I think I've done exactly what you just described. I've felt that really heavy, disgusting feel on race day, and it's not great. But yeah, it is such a balance. And I think just the phrase carbo loading just sort of implies that you should be just shoving loads of food in your face.
Yeah.
Interesting.
In terms of race day nutrition, I usually have a piece of toast or something for breakfast. Yeah. Nothing too heavy. Probably coffee as well. Yeah. And then I mostly have gels and drink now. So V-Fuel is what I take, which is fructose free, so it's usually nice and easy on your guts. Yeah. I found the last two races that I've done, I've sort of tried to stick to a plan of having them every 45 minutes or so at the start, and that's worked for the first 30 Ks or so, and then I haven't really felt like much after that. Okay. So Surf Go Century. From about 60k mark, I was feeling a bit off, so I didn't really eat or drink anything for the last 40k's, except for a bit of Red Bull. Wow! But I still actually felt like I had plenty of energy, so it was a bit strange. And then, in that race, I don't tend to drink a lot either. I probably came through the first 50k's, and my bottles were still pretty full. Wow! I was a bit more thirsty in the second half, but. Yeah, I really didn't drink much. This race in Portugal was very hot and very humid, and I would have drank at least 6 litres, probably more, and a lot of Coke. But same thing, I didn't really feel like eating in the second half. I had a few oranges, they were going down well, but
it's funny, isn't it? Once you get to that sort of stage, it's different for everybody, but you get to a point in a run, and you just either feel like stuffing your face, or you just don't feel like anything. Yeah. And it's very particular what you will and won't eat, isn't it?
And it's important to try and get nutrition in. I'll always have some liquid V-Fuel as well, so that I'm still getting some calories. But just sort of that fine balance between feeling sick and being able to feel good and keep going and have enough energy.
Absolutely. Oh, that's really interesting. I've got a few very quick questions, rapid fire questions for you. So these are just yeses or nos or choices.
I'm a really bad decision maker.
Okay, we could be sometimes. Okay, first one: hills or flat?
I'm better at flat.
Okay. I thought you were going to hike the shit out of it.
I was going to. I like hills better, but I'm better at flat.
So we're going with hills then. Okay. Favorite race location?
Probably on the Surf Coast.
Surf Coast, all right. Favorite post-race indulgence?
It really depends if I'm actually feeling like I want food. sometimes, most of the time, you just feel a bit sick. But
Mm-hmm.
probably, well, a beer, of course.
A beer, yeah.
And then probably pizza or something.
Pizza. Good call. I like your style. Favorite biscuit? Sorry, my sister insisted that I ask this question.
Tim Tam.
Tim Tams, good choice. Well done. Favorite flavour of ice cream, if you like ice cream?
Chocolate.
Chocolate mint. Okay, interesting. I'm more of a peanut butter chocolate fudge type thing. Interesting. All right then. Before I let you go, I've got 2 questions and they're completely unrelated. A lot of people wear headphones when they run. Do you wear headphones when you run?
Never.
Never. Okay. I know it's not allowed on trails and stuff, but
Yeah, some trails are, but I like to know what's going on around me.
Yeah.
I don't feel the need. I've never felt the need to. As I said earlier, it's more of a form of meditation, and you get into the zone and you listen to nature. I mean, you're on the trails. You don't want to, want to block that out.
Yeah. Okay. And a more generic question, I guess, like pieces of advice that you would give to people. I mean, you've probably just been doing it in the session that you've just had. So runners who are starting out on trails or who fancy taking on, an ultra marathon, what would you sort of say to them?
Probably number one advice is go along to one of the million community running groups that are out there on the trails. There's the Dandenong Trail Runners, Surf Coast Trail Runners, Listerfield Trail Runners. There's a million of them, and everyone's really supportive and really friendly. And I think that they're a really good way to go because there's always people at different levels, and generally someone will take you under their wing and teach you the ropes.
I think so. Awesome. Well, thank you very, 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 very much for taking the time. I really appreciate it. I want to allow you to go and eat now. Cheers. Thanks very much.
Oh, good. Thank you.